Brodie Grundy and Ned Reeves to do battle in ruck. Bounce set to go to kick off the season for Collingwood and for Hawthorn here at Morwell. Umpire lays it down in the middle and we're underway. It's Grundy who gets first hands to it. Reeves gets it away for the Hawks though to Newcomb. Tumbles it to half forward. There's a nice pick up there for Hawthorn by Brockman. And his handball forward has returned a free kick, and straight into the action here for the Hawks is Dylan Moore, who had such a great finish to last season. Steve Gillum, as I welcome you to the broadcast, he gets an early opportunity.
He does. Thanks, Joel. Yeah, great to be here. Great to see footy returning down in Morwell against these sides. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, both got new coaches as Morey plays on, opens up the angle and kicks truly. So Hawthorn on the board through Dylan Moore. But he's been in really good form. They've had a couple of internal trials, the Hawks, the last couple of weeks, and he's working really hard in that forward line, getting to the feet of the big boys up forward and making the most of his opportunities the last couple of years.
Someone with a strong Hawks connection, who are you looking forward to seeing this afternoon?
Well, it's great that they're playing six, like I guess you'd call it, or 6 quarters.
6 periods.
6 periods. So everyone's going to get their opportunity. I'm really looking forward to some of the young guys. You can see John Newcomb in at the centre bounce there. Obviously, was a mid-season pickup last year, and some of our newly draftees from this year.
Great to see so many young guns for both sides. Crisp for Collingwood. He wrenches it free out of the middle. Long kick inside the 50 and Scrimshaw's able to pick it off. Former son had a terrific season for the Hawks last season after so many injury battles early in his career. Sends it wide and Moore's involved early again. And of course we get to see Nick Dacos for the Pies this afternoon, the highly talented junior who's already, I guess, comes with so much expectation.
He does. He's already got a little bit of pressure, but I think from what I hear, he'll enjoy that pressure and eat it up.
Here's Elliott for the Pies from the pocket. That's a great finish from Jamie Elliott. On the run, left forward pocket at the freeway end, curls it home on the left boot.
Great finish, wasn't it? And that's what he can do. He doesn't really need much time and space to create something, and sort of almost made something out of nothing there from the turnover. Hawthorn will be a little bit disappointed with that. Morey had the ball in hand and made the turnover, and Collingwood made them play. But, really looking forward to sort of the team styles as well under the new coaches. I know that Sam is probably going to be a little bit more attacking and instinctive with the ball in hand. And then from a Collingwood point of view, we'll see, what Craig McRae wants, what sort of style he wants to play.
Speaking on SEN this morning, he said that they're going to move the ball forward more and they'll play a more contested style. So often was the case, and you heard it in the frustration at Collingwood games. They got frustrated with the way Nathan Buckley's teams chipped the ball around and moved it backwards and were slow to build it up.
Yeah, I guess that was sort of what he learned under Mick Malthouse to a degree as well. Those Mick Malthouse coach sides like to move them more like that. So, looking forward to an open and flowing contest that will be good to watch. But I think, as a player, you like playing under that sort of coach and playing that style.
So Scrimshaw's again involved here for the Hawks. And here's Sicily with his first touch coming off the ACL layoff. Terrific to have the uber-talented Hawthorn product, and here's another one in Warple who rises and is able to pull in the mark. Kick into the centre of the ground, not great. Picked up by Hartigan at half-back. Scrimshaw now for the Hawks. Flicks the handball on Bramble, who was a great pick-up for Hawthorn last year. Scrubs the kick across the corridor. Makes Sicily work, but we know that he's good enough to pick it up and launch it inside the 50. Grundy comes over the top with a telling fist. Free kick paid in the marking contest, and it's going to go the way of the Pies.
You scrubby kicks. I see in the background the wind looks like it's really up. So, just as I mentioned that, Tyler Brockman chops it off. But just the kicking. It looks like the players are having a little bit of trouble with that wind, whether it's straight down the ground or across the ground. There's just a lot of turnovers early in the game. What tends to happen in these early games of the year is you want to move the ball really quick. Everyone wants to touch the footy, and they're just settling into the game at the moment.
So Brockman with the set shot from 45 metres out, just pushes it right to left, and the first minor score of the game. 11 games last season for Tyler Brocklin. The West Australian was a very handy picker.
He was, yeah. He's really dangerous and elusive in that forward line. So, having another pre-season under his belt, hopefully just is able to be more consistent.
Here's something interesting. Scott Pendlebury at fullback kicking in. We know he's maybe set for a more defensive role this year, but not the position we've become accustomed to seeing the champ.
Not a bad bloke to have the ball in his hands for the kick-outs for the Pies. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to watch and see how that plays out.
Gippsland product playing in his home part of the world from a little bit further down the Princess Freeway at Sale. Here's Crisp. 163 consecutive games for Jack Crisp. Plenty of fantasy owners would be watching today's game and maybe penciling him in as a selection. He kicked it to a man who they might be doing the same with in Sicily as the Hawks sweep it across the centre. Nice kick from Morrison. Releases the run of Bramble. He'll send the Hawks inside the 50 again. Up high was Lewis. Did he pull that in? No, it's gone the other way. And Johnson in defence for the Pies there. To Dacos. That's Josh out to Grundy. Handball along the ground to Lipinski, who gets it up to Myercheck, and Collingwood continue to build the footy forward here. Now Ginnivan, he was a great pickup in his rookie season as well. Terrific spoil from Morrison. Came across Elliott. Pies try and keep possession inside the 50, and Bramble's going to win a free kick.
It's certainly on. Harry Morrison going back with the flight in a practice game. You love to see that. If you're a Hawk supporter, it's come out that under Sam Mitchell they're going to have a tough and attacking style of footy. So, get back to more of that unsociable Hawks tag that they had there whilst they were successful, and certainly Mitch was a part of that. So
I don't think Sam Mitchell would know any other way.
No, well. I think you're going to need to play like that if you're going to play in a Sam Mitchell coach side.
And Harry Morrison, the Benalla product, contract year for him, coming off probably a frustrating year last year where he missed a few games with hamstring injuries. He'll be wanting to make an impression.
Yeah, he definitely will across that half-back line. I think they like his run and also his be able to distribute the footy by foot. So hopefully Harry can keep his body sound. He's had a great pre-season, and wish him all the best this year.
Joel Peterson and Steve Gillam with you. KO Sports, separating these two sides through 7 minutes. A couple of stoppages on the outer wing. McAvoy, so crafty in ruck. O'Meara slams it forward. Hawks have numbers there. Kajitsky, who had a solid year last year for Hawthorn, can't quite take possession cleanly here. Newcomb's been busy early, and he's in the play again here, kicking inside the 50. Gunston's after it. Quaynor's right there with him, and Gunston's pretty happy to step that across the boundary line.
Yeah, good to see Jack out there. He's moving really well. Obviously had a really frustrating year last year with that back injury. Only managed the one game against St Kilda. So it's good for the side, but it's also good for those young forwards in Lewis and Kazitsi to have a leader like Jack out there.
Someone who plays with such craft. He's a real technician inside the forward 50. Is Jack Gunston. Quaynor, such an exciting prospect for Collingwood fans. Goes long outside the defensive 50, and Scrimshaw gets a nice fist to that. He continues. He's another one who Hawks fans will be pretty keen to see. You can see at the bottom of your screen there, big Mason Cox waiting to come on the ground, and he's got the prescription sunglasses approved by the AFL.
There was a photo tweeted out by the club before the game. He looked like the Terminator with those goggles on. So channeling a bit of Arnie, Big Mason.
Part Terminator, part Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I think. Big Mason.
He's really important for the Pies. I reckon, a couple of years ago when they made that really strong run and absolutely smashed Richmond in a prelim final, the best game you've ever seen him play, hoping that the goggles return him to that sort of form, I think. Maybe that's what he's needed. That's what he's been missing. He can't see the ball.
Could be. It could be. And I'll tell you what, if he's marking the ball like he did in that game against Richmond with the goggles on, who knows? It is a very strange sight, though. It is unusual, but whatever you need, Mason, that's what's going to make it work. Here's Dacos, Nick Dacos, a little handball through the traffic to Myercheck, finds Ginnivan, who rises and marks. So Nick Dacos involved in a potential scoring chain here for the Pies, and Ginnivan's on the end of it. He's normally pretty sharp in front of the sticks.
Looks pretty composed already, doesn't he, Dacos? And that's what they'll be hoping. That last ball inside 50 is so crucial to your scoring chain and being able to set up your forwards for this shot. So they've looked really good when they've moved the ball quick. Collingwood getting out the back of Hawthorn's defence.
So Ginnivan kicked 3 against the Pies last year when they met late in the season, and he's got one early here at Morwell, and Collingwood in front through 10 minutes of the opening term.
Yeah, it's been a little bit scrappy. I think maybe that's to do with the conditions, but I also mentioned just early in the season, I think, everyone's just so keen and eager to get on with it and get the ball forward and keep it moving at all costs that sometimes you just need a little bit of composure, and that was great composure by Mychek there, just going inside 50, saw Ginnivan out of the corner of his eyes, and he was able to kick truly.
The rookie list, Jack Ginnivan, Castlemaine product through the Strathfield Safe Storm Footy Club. 5 games, 5 goals last season. Some nice thing. 5 games, 6 goals, in fact. It's 16 in the VFL in 8 games to earn his AFL call-up. See Mason Cox in the ruck against Ed Reeves. Plenty of height in that duel. Only one of them wearing the spectacles, though. Will go out of the middle. Kajitsky chases after this. Won't be able to keep it in. Right there with him was Dean for the Pies, one of their rookies out of Williamstown, the Fothergill Round Mitchell medalist from last season. Will be tossed back in at the town end. Mitchell's lurking around the stoppage as he so often is. Had 40 plus against the Pies when they met last year. Sharp chain of handballs ends with O'Meara. He sends it toward goal for the Hawks, but good defence from the Pies, able to see it across for another rush behind.
Just one for the Hawks fans. You can see 31 on your screen. Connor McDonald, I think he was our 3rd pick, 25 overall in the national draft last year. Looks ready to go. He looks really composed at the level. Can find the footy. Here he is again. Uses the footy well. Has got a bit of creativity with how he uses the ball as well. So I think he's one to keep an eye on Hawks fans.
A run and dash about him. He loads up on the right of those bright yellow boots, sends it inside the 50. Adams there for the Pies to tumble it back the other way to Hoskin Elliott, out of side bottom. So important when they're up and running, those 3 really, the trio among this Collingwood side. A great chase down tackle. Hardigan just got the handball away for the Hawks. Elliott's there to apply some pressure, trying to tumble it inside the forward 50, but Hardigan stands in the way, and then Elliott knocks down the handball of Sicily, and then he backheeled it to James Sicily. That's not quite how he drew it up. Scrimshaw in defence for the Hawks, and they can settle off half-back here through Warple.
Just so good to see James Sicily out there. He's been involved a couple of times that have given him the world of confidence, and he looks like he's really enjoying himself out there.
The game is richer for having him. Seamus Mitchell, one of the new faces for Hawthorn, linked up with Reeves. O'Meara left it behind. The Hawks work it forward. Here's McDonald again, who's been busy, as you alluded to, Steve. Hawks everywhere inside the 50. Mitchell, Lewis can't take the mark. Chases it to the boundary line. Flicks it over the head. More off a standing start. Got the fat side of the footy. It bounces across the face. And Josh Dacos worked that nicely. Tapped it to his own advantage. And he's away with a gallop. Kicking toward the broadcast side where Mychek goes with one hand. Can't quite pull it in. He's going to end up with his own handball here just about. Flicked it up to Adams. High footy inside the 50 for the Pies. That's a huge spoil from Hardigan. And they can run it defensively here through Denver Granger Barras. And he's another Hawthorn player who there's a lot to like. And a Collingwood player went flying through the gate there. That's Dean. So the gate there on the boundary line at Morwell wasn't quite closed properly, and unfortunately young Charlie Dean's come off the wrong side of it.
Oh, well, it's ended okay, but geez, that could have been a lot worse than what it was. Hopefully he's all right. It looks like he is.
Mason Cox in the ruck, won it down. Collects the handball from Lipinski, and then smashes it forward. The breeze certainly favouring that end of the ground at the freeway end, and Sicily's been paid for a free kick in the wrestle, and you can see the disbelief on the face of James Sicily, and we know they're cracking down on this year.
Yeah.
And the umpires paid a 50 against him.
Yeah, well, he's prone a little bit, Sis, to have a word if he's not happy, whether that's the umpires or the opposition or even his
anyone
own
in the
teammates.
general vicinity.
At times, he has sort of in his time off. There was a great article written about him by Josh Gablich at afl.com.au this morning that basically said that, since he's 18 months off, he's got involved in some list management. He's really keen to go down that path. And I think he's really matured as well, and he's just, got a little bit of perspective about and love for the game again. He was just a little bit unlucky there, just copped Elliott high a little bit. And, as you said, mate, the umps aren't going to be taking any back chat.
Love him or hate him, James Sicily, he's one of the game's great characters, and he makes people like him make the game a little bit richer for the way that they go about their business.
Yeah, that's right. He's one of those players that you love being out there and watching him play the game, but also, he plays on the edge as well, and so I think that's good for the side. It's good for James and how he gets the best out of himself. So he's just got to temper that. Obviously you don't want to be costing your side goals like that. So Collingwood skip away, a couple of goals lead.
Premiership Hawks, Steve Gillam with you on KO Sports alongside Joel Peterson calling the action here from Morwell. Tyler Brown in the centre. The Hawks tries to rip it away. The Pies, I should say, but the Hawks, the clearance. It'll come back through side bottom for Collingwood. Flat ball up toward half forward. Cox came across. Couldn't quite pull in the mark. Hawks have got numbers behind the footy. Hardigan to Sicily. Got the handball out over the boundary line. Good pressure from Collingwood inside the 50. And there's a little bit on. Hardigan's in the wrestle. So too Grundy. Mlajcic having his say. Umpires trying to keep play moving among all that. And it's going to be a free kick going to James Sicily in the end for the Hawks. Drives a low kick outside the defensive 50. Mitchell read it so beautifully off the hands. Handball to McGuinness through the centre of the ground. Now on to Nat. Was somewhat reinvented as a midfielder late in the season last year. There's the kick wide. Newcombe did well, kept his composure, tumbled it inside the 50, and that's a juggling effort in defence for the Pies to Dean, who's looked pretty good early. The Pies have moved the footy well here in the opening stages, Steve.
They have. They've sort of settled into the game a little bit more. They're a little bit more composed by foot, willing to sort of, use the ball with their foot. Jack couldn't get that done from the goal square off the ground, but and they build it up, and then once they hit that centre line, they're willing to go quick and get it into their dangerous and elusive forwards like Elliott's look dangerous and Ginnivan and these guys. So you can see sort of what Craig's wanting to do. He wants to take ground with kicking the footy and maintain possession, and then once they get to a certain part on the ground, they go quick, and here they go again.
Yeah, they're off again here, Collingwood. Lipinski measures the pass down the line. Mlajcic rose, couldn't take it with him, and then couldn't quite pick it up in the one hand. Great defensive work from Granger Barras, and they're going to be able to come away with this, Hawthorn. Bramble, handball to McGuinness. Now the kick into the centre of the ground to Nash, who's a pretty imposing figure in the centre at 194 centimetres, the big Irishman.
He is. You said it before, he sort of reinvented himself. They tried him as a forward and almost a defensive forward at times last year, which just really wasn't working for him. And then in the end, whether it was by design or necessity, he went into the middle and he was fantastic. I think his last 4 to 6 games were outstanding, and it looks like he's going to continue on in that vein through the midfield.
Averaged 20 touches over those last 4 games last year, Connor Nash. 29 games for the Hawks since being picked up as a rookie in 2017. Ball rumbles over the boundary line again in front of the grandstand here at Morwell. Great to have footy back in Gippsland.
Bit of feeling in this one, Joe.
There is.
Bit of push and shove. It's good to see. Like the players out there, obviously everyone's getting a go out there today, but I feel like with the new coaches, everyone sort of starts fresh, and you're proving yourself again almost to the new coach and the new coaching panel, but also to yourself and your teammates, just about staking your claim for round one, because as we know, even though it's a practice game, the coaches will debrief this, and it sort of sets you off on the right foot or not for the season.
Granger Barras got absolutely coat-angered there by Lipinski as he came into mark. Lipinski was just at a wrong place, wrong time, and gives away the 50. So the first round pick from previous year for Hawthorn kicks inside the 50. It only just got inside the 50 in the end. Trying to chase it down there for the Hawks. Seamus Mitchell, he could collect it cleanly. Now a free kick going to the Pies at half back. Looks like Noble to take it on the outer side. The mid-season draftee of a couple of years ago out of West Adelaide. And a handy pickup. One of a number of players from the mid-season drafts who have been able to make an impact. You look at Newcomb, who had an instant impact as well for the Hawks.
Yeah, and Lockie Bramble last year as well. They were two of the better players in the back half of the season for the Hawks. So it just goes to show that if you miss out on the draft, and subsequent drafts, there's, it's great to see the AFL opening up these channels for second chances for these players, whether that's lifting the under 18, aged with 19-year-olds being able to play, or being able to sign players to train on with teams for the supplementary selections in the pre-season drafts, and then the mid-season obviously as well.
Oh, great pressure from Ginnivan. Has he won a free kick for the Pies there? He has in the forward pocket. So Jack Ginnivan, having kicked a goal already in this term, he's going to have a pretty tough chance here in the right forward pocket, but a forward these days, they're pretty good at slotting these ones.
It looks like he's just setting up a couple of steps, round on the left foot, snap it through. He's looking to give it up, but I don't think he's that keen, is he?
So Ginnivan on the left boot to the freeway end, has no trouble with that. And Collingwood have got 4 in the opening term here at Morwell. The Pies fans will be very happy with what they're seeing.
Pretty jealous of his hair cut, Joel. He's got the full headband to keep that hair out of his eyes. But he started really well. He's got a couple of goals. There's great pressure, and that's what Collingwood have brought. They've brought an outstanding pressure around the ball when caught Frost there. They get it in quick. They give their forwards a chance, and then if they don't win it, they're sort of all over Hawthorn, turning them around, running them back towards goal, creating those chances. And Craig McRae, the forwards coach, would be absolutely loving what they're seeing at the moment.
So Hawthorn with the first of the game, and then Collingwood with the next 4. It's a 15-point spread. 6:25-minute quarters for you this afternoon on KO Sports. Joel Peterson and Premiership Hawks Steve Gillum calling it for you. Ed Reeves trots around the centre circle, bashes into Brodie Grundy and tries to win it down. Lipinski had a go, but it's going to be Crisp who rips it away for Collingwood. Handball to Adams. Low kick inside the 50. Meyer check up. Brought it down to himself. Snapped it around the body. Not quite. Bounces out for a throw.
Yeah, Grundy looks sharp in the middle. He's just sort of schooling Reeves a little bit, with that experience and big body around. And then, Adams is starting to get involved. Myercheck's been involved in everything early. It's good signs for the Pie supporters that their prime movers are up and moving.
Lipinski's up and moving at the stoppage. Take it with him. Elliott's there again. Here is Lipinski. First game for Collingwood, at least in an unofficial capacity, and his first goal in the black and white.
Oh, it was just great play. It was just great design. The midfielders getting to the forward stoppage. Obviously, midfielders around stoppages are better than forwards in that role. So read it off hands, run through at pace. Frosty looked like he almost sort of gave it up. Elliott gets his hand in there, or his foot, and it was a great snap in the end round the corner, and kicked 5 on the trot. The Pies 5 straight.
Yeah. Pat Lipinski, 5 seasons at the Western Bulldogs, 56 games in that time. Just couldn't quite crack into their side, but he looks like one who's ready-made to slot into this Collingwood midfield.
Does. They run pretty deep. You see Steele on the wing there, and Adams and Grundy, and Pendlebury's coming back now, so they've got them all over the field, and that's what you need. You need a really deep midfield that can stay on the field and either change through the wing or high half forward or through half back.
Can the Pies jag another one here late in the piece? Grundy might have to do the clearance work. Arms it up to Dacos. Kicks inside the 50. Cox the target. Adams there. Handball mid-air from Dacos. That was very clever. Newcomb gets back for the Hawks, though. Now Sicily a chance to repel the danger for Hawthorn. Hugs the boundary line with the kick, but finds more. Goes back behind his mark and then launches it up the wing. Big run at it there for Kajitsky. Couldn't pull it in. The Pies, they've done so much early in this game, quickly move it back the other way. But Bramble's bursting away with it for Hawthorn. He sends it toward half forward. O'Meara takes it, spears the pass inside the 50. Ben McAvoy tried to take the slips catch after he juggled it up high, went down low, lunging away, couldn't pull it in. It was pretty agile, though, from the big fella. And now a chance for Josh Dacos. And Adams down the outer side for the Pies, and now Cox is involved. Those spectacles are going to be some kind of sight here in this new season. He launches it inside the 50, and again Elliott's up, having kicked 2 already. He'll have a chance right toward the end of this opening turn. Jamie Elliott coming off a strong season, 2-time leading goal kicker. 25 goals last season after being tormented by injuries for so long. We know what a talent he is when he can get out there from just inside the 50 to provide the perfect end to the first quarter for Collingwood. 6 in a row for the Pies.
They've deserved it. They've played really good footy after Dylan Moore kicked the first for the Hawks pretty early in the game. They've just been a lot sharper, a lot cleaner with the footy going inside 50. They've moved it really well to their dangerous forwards. Elliott's got a couple. Some of their mids have squeezed down. Lipinski got a goal. Ginnivan's got a couple. So just Hawthorn, that might be a little bit of a breeze to that end. We're not sure. We'll sort of be able to tell a little bit more after this next quarter. But looks, a little bit too easy from a Hawthorn perspective. When they do go forward, they look really dangerous and like they're going to score more times than they're not. And going back the other way, we saw that O'Meara kick inside 50. It's sort of been the way that Hawthorn have had enough opportunities, but they haven't been able to connect with forwards and keep it in there and look dangerous for any period of time.
So great start for Collingwood. Lipinski's in the action again in the middle. Something to be encouraged about if you're a Pies fan. The opening stages here. Lipinski spins his way through the traffic. Handball out. Josh Dacos tries to weave his way through. Kicks wide, side bottom, chased it to the boundary. Kept it in somehow. Handball's off to Pendlebury. The old firm combining inside the 50. Elliott's the target again. Couldn't mark. Bianco's there. Flicked the handball over his head, but the Hawks have got numbers around the footy. Mitchell defensively. Now Sicily, all run down by Elliott. Just got it away. The pressure from Collingwood, great inside the 50. Elliott has another go at full forward. Spiking it was Hardigan to just try and desperately clear the danger area. And the Hawks bounce it out toward Gunston at half back. At least get the safety of touch for now.
It will, James Sicily's had 18 months off, so it is going to take him a little bit of time to just pick up the pace again. Having such a long time off, I know I've come back from a couple of knee reconstructions, and he'll get there, and he'll pick it up pretty quickly. But just that few times he's just been caught, and he just hasn't been quick enough with ball in hand. But in saying that, the Collingwood forwards, their small forwards have put elite pressure on in that forward line. They seems to be a bit of a game plan to get it in quick and just lock it in there and either score or get multiple looks.
I've locked it across the half-forward line here. Shiphawk Steve Gillam with you here on KO Sports. Collingwood 6 straight goals after Hawthorn kicked the first of the match here at Morwell. Princess Freeway in the background. Overcast skies. Gippsland. Tyler Brown in on the tackle. And the Pies will win a free kick here, and it's going to be Nick Dacos, number 4 pick last year. Loads up inside the 50, Hawks everywhere. Being able to take the mark was McAvoy, but he's going to get a free kick for the chop of the arms. Skipper again this season. Plenty of young players to lead. That's not his best kick, and it's got straight to Brodie Myercheck. Probably from out there, have the breeze behind him, you'd say.
Yeah, it was a great mark. It's probably, you want like Jack Scrimshaw or Harry Morrison running past Ben McAvoy in that scenario, distributing the footy rather than your big ruckman going for the switch, which is a little bit ambitious, and Brady was ready for it.
Just can't find the finish, though, the leading goal kicker of the last 3 seasons for Collingwood. They are creating plenty of opportunities here, the Pies. Leading by 28 points.
do just get the feeling that the wind might be favouring that end a little bit. Just with Brodie's kick there, you just sort of, he's on the arc and he's easily made the distance without trying. So they might have, a 4 or 5 goal sort of breeze behind their back, the Pies, in this first term.
Randall kicks in long, and it's going to come straight back the other way. Again, another entry for Collingwood, and here is Mason Cox. The big fella's got it 40 out directly in front.
Reckon any of the Hawks boys are sort of giving him a little bit of banter out there today, Joel?
It's possible, I'd say, Steve. It's possible.
Maybe James Sicily and a couple others.
He wouldn't be the type to have a word, would he?
I hope they are. I hope they're having a bit of fun with Big Mason. We know that he loves that side of the game, the bit of trash talk himself, going back the other way.
Well, he's got the glasses on. Does he have the kicking boots on? He certainly does in the opening term, Mason Cox. He flips the glasses off, celebrates with his teammates, and Collingwood have got 7 goals to start the opening term, and they lead by 34 points at the opening change. Collingwood 7-1-43 to Hawthorn 1-3-9. The Hawks bag the first of the game in the opening minute to Dylan Moore. Collingwood with the next 7 goals at Morwell to open up a 34-point quarter-time lead. Great to have your company on KO Sports. Second quarter coming up very shortly.